We're here at IGEL DISRUPTEUC in San Jose, and I'm here with Amir from ControlUp. Can you tell us a little bit about the company and how you're working with IGEL?
Sure. So I'm with ControlUp, and we've been vendor in this EUC space for the last 7 years, and we're providing monitoring, troubleshooting, analytics solution for mainly EUC environment. And glad to be here with IGEL. We see them in so many joint customers. Kind of, we provide the monitoring and troubleshooting. They provide the endpoint facilitation for that. And specifically, what the type of value we provide for organization that and deployed IGEL and ControlUp is the ability to have a great visibility to the environment, right? So that's one kind of a signature hallmark of ControlUp, the ability to have visibility, a single pane of glass for your entire environment, from the virtualization layer all the way to the VM sessions and even processes. But this visibility, the main purpose of this is allow you to troubleshoot. And when something goes wrong, when a user complains, I cannot log in, application is not loading up quickly enough, that's where we kicks in and help solve many of these problems. The other unique aspect of ControlUp would be management and troubleshooting. So we have a library of built-in actions as well as extensible library of scripts that the community and us and other vendors can develop, and these scripts allow you to simplify your day-to-day management and troubleshooting of your environment. And last but not least is we provide great and very simplified analytics for your end-user environment. And again, in the case of IGEL, tell you how your endpoints are doing, what type of latency they see, what is the user experience. So a lot of user experience type of use case, but also general management and IT operation for the EUC environment.
So we've seen you at some other trade shows, and we've talked with ControlUp before. What's different about what you're showing here at Disrupt?
Well, so I think, the same use case are essentially the same, but we're showing them on an IGEL type of environment. In other words, IGEL being the endpoints, and we can be deployed on the data center only or end-to-end, so both on the data center and in the endpoint itself, and providing this full monitoring and troubleshooting. There are, I think, some unique use cases for knowing how your thin client is doing, and that's one of the things that we're showing over here as well.
Right. Would it be possible for maybe us to take a look at the ControlUp product? And
I was worried you're not going to ask. Absolutely.
So what are we taking a look at right now?
Well, so this is the ControlUp real-time console, and the ControlUp real-time console essentially allow you to add all of the resources that you want to monitor, starting with your hypervisor, and you can see over here we monitor ESXi, Nutanix, Hyper-V, Zen Server, and also some of the cloud providers, right? Then on top of your virtualization, you add your VMs, and that's where will be your virtual app, virtual desktop, Horizon View, as well as the endpoint that you want to monitor. And you can also add NetScaler. If you're Citrix shop, you probably have NetScaler. Now, once you've added these, then the real-time monitoring begins, and this is the dashboard that you see. And we have this concept of follow the red path, and I'll take you through this. So you can see that this host right now is very busy. I'm looking at the an high stress level, and this score is bad. One click on the red cell over here, and ControlUp Virtual Expert kicks in, and the Virtual Expert is a concept that helps you kind of assisted troubleshooting with contextual navigation and tips of what you should do. So the Virtual Expert tells me drill down into that view, and it's essentially placing the host on top and then organize all of the VM running on that host underneath. And you can see that these tools 2012 VM is the single VM that really is making the host busy. And let's continue use the Virtual Expert to help me. So now the Virtual Expert tell me drill down into the session grid, and then it plays the VM itself, and this is an RDS server, so you can have multiple user sessions, and you can see that this particular user session is the session that is causing the problem. And one last drill, so within 3 clicks I was able to find that this user session have a process that causing the problem, and from there I can take it. Let me do another example for a user experience scenario.
Sure.
So I'm switching to the session grid, and you can see in my small lab over here I have 35 users, and let's look at log-on duration metrics, right? And this sort my grid based on log-on duration, and I can see the users that have a bad start for the day, you know, slow logon. And you can see that this particular user over here is having a slow logon, but really the thing that took a long of time is we break down the logon duration, the total 58 seconds to the different element, and you can see that the group policy took 33 seconds. 43 seconds. Now, why is that? And that's where, again, the virtual expert kicks in, and I'm looking for a GPO type of thing. So the virtual expert tell me, you know, you can analyze using the script engine that I mentioned. You can analyze what's the root cause for that, right? And you can see that the group policy drive map client-side extension, that's the one that took 38 seconds. So now, again, with one click and using these assisted scripts, I'm able to find the root cause for that particular user's slow logon, and now I can troubleshoot it and solve it. So that's this use case of user experience and troubleshooting, and it's true for any of these grids. Is very, very powerful. The one last thing that I want to obviously show is what happened if something happened in the past, right? So this is in real time, but whatever happened in the past. So ControlUp also put things in a database and pushing it to ControlUp Insight, which is our web-based historical analytics platform. And over here you can see, you know, this is example for my environment over the last 1 month, and it kind of shows me how many hosts I have in the environment, what is the vCPU to pCPU ratio, total VMs, as well as view of the sessions. And what I like, I mean, there are plethora of information over here, but what I like over here is obviously focus. For instance, let's look at my users. So these are the top CPU consuming user. This would be the user that consume most of the RAM, and this would be the user that have disk I/O issues and so forth. So very, very granular data. And I want to finish my quick demo with one very, very powerful report, which is the sizing recommendation. Having the data running and monitoring all of these environment over a long time, we are able, the virtual expert is able to give you very powerful recommendation, in this case for sizing recommendation. So you see in our small lab we have 89 VMs, and many of them are over provisioning for CPU and for RAM. Let's look how did we get to this conclusion. So if I look at this machine, the Windows 10 PC over here, ControlUp says that you should remove 5 virtual CPU and its right size for RAM. Let's look at how did we get to this data. So the blue line is what was provisioning in terms of virtual CPU and RAM. The green line is the actual usage over the last month, and then we calculate the average and the 95 percentile, and we dot the orange dotted line. And the gap between the orange dotted line and the blue line, that would be your saving or maybe your underperforming VM, and that's kind of very powerful way to to tune your data center. I would say that the last thing that we kind of keep doing is we have a big emphasis on keeping it simple, right? So it's powerful, but it's very tricky to do something that is very powerful and yet simple, and that's the main theme for us. So every product feature that we design, we think of how can we give you the power but without making it too complex for you, and hopefully my short demo over here showed just that.